Okay, for this video, we will go over question number 1 on the quiz 2 review. But before we start, I just want to make sure that that I deliver the expectations on what you should be capable of doing for the quiz. Okay, we expect that students would know how to make graphs on the cube root function. Okay, and we expect that the students would be able to read the equations and be able to tell all the transformations, just like how we did with the cubic function. Okay, just like that. We also expect students to know how to solve equations involving cube root. So like number 2. We also expect students to know how to find inverse if you are given an equation, and also that if you are given a pair of functions, you will be able to use the definition of inverse, which is this, to tell if it's equal to inverse or not. Okay, so if it's equal to x, then it is equal to, then they are inverse of each other. And if they do not equal to x, then it will be not a pair of inverse functions. All right, so those are the expectations, and let's go ahead and get started with number 1. Now, the first thing I want to make clear is that we have learned 2 types of graphs here, and I hope that you have a good sense of what they are. Like this one, it's the cubic function graph because it grows really rapidly. That's the cubic function graph. But what we are doing now is the cube root graph that goes more of a horizontal, goes more rapidly in the horizontal direction. Okay, so that's the standard the cube root graph. Okay, then now let's take a look at this equation here. We have with a negative here, we have a 3, we have a -2 with a +1. So let's go ahead and interpret something really straightforward. Probably the -2 and +1, meaning that we will move to the right for 2 units and up for 1 unit. Okay, so that's where we have the center of rotational symmetry. Okay, now then we have the negative outside of the cube root function, and that is indicating we have a reflection over the x-axis, and that's how it will look like after the reflection over the x-axis. And then we also have a vertical stretch. Okay, this is an A value here. This is a vertical stretch. Because of the vertical stretch, the way we move vertically would be stretched, right? So we expect that when we move to the left, we're going to move up 3 units instead of 1 unit. When we move to the right, we'll move down 3 units. Okay, so I expect that everyone knows how to do the typical cube root function, like left 1, right. I mean, typically it's that you go right 1, up 1, left 1, down 1, and then you go right 7, up 1, and then left 7, down 1. But because of the vertical stretch, so we're not moving 1 unit vertically. We're now moving 3 units vertically. And then the next move is to move 7 units to the right and left. So from 3, we go to the right 7 units. So it'll be 10, and going down 3 units. Okay, and then we will go to the left 7 units and up 3 units. Okay, so we have this graph right here, and we have this graph right here. Okay, so that's the graph, and right below it, it's also asking for the x-intercept and y-intercept. And one thing that we can tell for sure is that they are not going to be a nice number, okay? I think I should avoid giving an illusion that it's a nice number, so maybe it's just something like this. So we have no idea what number it is for the x and y-intercept, but we do know that for x-intercept, the y is equal to 0. For the y-intercept, x is equal to 0, meaning that we can actually go ahead and find them out. So let's start with the x-intercept first. X-intercept is when the 0 goes to the y. So let's go ahead and do that. And we have the y equal to 0, which is f of x becoming 0. And then we have to move the 1 over, okay? And the major obstacle right here is to make sure that you will divide the -3 over first, which makes it 1/3. And then you would cube both sides, which makes this 1 over 27. Okay. Then you add the 2 over. Okay. So that means x is equal to 2 plus 1 over 27. Or if you say 2 and 1 over 27, I would take it. Or even better, if you say 55 over 27, that would be even more lovely. But I would say 2 and 1 over 27 would be pretty decent, because if you look at the graph right here, hey, that looks pretty nice, right? It's a little bit over 2. It's just tiny bit over 2. So that makes good sense, right? For y-intercept, we have f of 0. The 0 goes into the x. So you have 0 minus 2, and then inside the cube root, and then plus 1. Okay, so you have this. Okay, don't forget the cube root. Okay, so that could be the answer, but I actually want to simplify this a little bit, because if you see the minus here and minus there, you could actually bring this minus out and multiply with this minus, so they would actually cancel each other out. So you would end up with 3 cube root of 2 plus 1, and that would be the value. Okay, that would be the y value when x is equal to 0. So not a nice number, but it's okay. It's okay. Okay. So that's the graphing part with number 1, and also the way we find the x and y intercepts. So make sure that you are not going to confuse yourself with the way to make the graphs. Okay, it's a cube root function, so it's kind of flat. It's supposed to be flat if it's a root function. If it's a cubic function, that goes pretty rapidly vertically. Okay, so